would like to bring a special guest on to Chief Says. I've been looking for this person for a while. We met probably about a year and a half ago for a speaking program, that ETA speaking program. But he's an inspirational, motivational person, entrepreneur. He's also a family man. I would like the audience to put a round of applause together for Jeremy Harris.
Hello, man. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Could you tell the audience a little bit about yourself that, I didn't mention? First of all, let me stop. I enjoy having you here, all right? Again, I reached out to you several times. I know you're a busy person, especially being an entrepreneur, but I reached out to you several times and you finally agreed to come on to Chief Says, and I appreciate you coming on to Chief Says for episode two, not episode two, but season two. So I'm excited to have you here. But could you tell the audience a little bit about yourself that I didn't mention in the intro?
Yeah, man, absolutely. Again, Jeremy Harris, 30 years old, entrepreneur to the core. I mean, I just, it's something about, being an entrepreneur that's always intrigued me. I am a father. I got a 9-year-old daughter that gives me a run for my money, more times than I'd like to admit. But yeah, man, entrepreneur, father, uh, so many other things, but I don't want to get too far into it. But until we get into the questions.
So what made you become an entrepreneur, and what is the current business that you're in or you're running?
I tell you, man, early on, I discovered, and maybe this was self-awareness and I just didn't realize it, but I discovered as I look back that I wasn't a great employee. And it started to become a pattern as far as, I felt like I had better ideas than my boss did, and I'm like, man, I think I need to be an entrepreneur. This whole being an employee thing just isn't working for me. And I'd always really wanted to get into cars and really couldn't find exactly what, car wise I wanted to do. I got introduced to window tint by my father, and he showed me, because he was very well known for it years and years and years ago. And I took the little bit that he showed me and ran with it. So now I have successfully created a window tint business, and I'm doing it in a way that it's never been done before. Um, so yeah, like building that reputation to become a window tinter and being the only window tinter in the triangle that will pick up and deliver and is insured to do so. So that's
What is your name of your business? We'll put it right up here.
concealed window tinting.
Concealed window tinting. Okay.
Concealed window tinting. Yeah, I came up with that idea because I started out really blacking out my friends' cars with dark window tint. And I wanted something clever. A lot of people had come up with names, just, people were like, well, just call it window tint by Jeremy Harris. And I'm like, oh, that's not clever enough. I wanted to try to build a brand. So, and my favorite car was a Bentley. So the C of concealed is actually the exact same shape as a Bentley side glass. That's where I came up with that from. Yeah, concealed window tint. It's pretty clever.
All right, that's pretty cool. Now, how do you go from now? Before we get into that, of course, we already put the business name and what it is up there. How'd you go from window tinting to being a motivational, inspirational speaker? How does that correlate?
It's weird, man, because you know. Okay, let me back up a little bit. So before I actually took the leap of faith into starting the business full time, I was in security, and I had worked in security for probably 4.5 years, going on 5 years. Had worked my way up to lieutenant, was on a like trying to get on track to become a law enforcement officer. And I was going down the road one day in my patrol car, and like this gut feeling hit me, and it, have you ever felt like unfulfilled, like something's missing, right? And you know, everybody that's comes from my town really feels limited as to what they can accomplish because we live in such a small town. And I'm like, I really wish I could change people's perspective and show them firsthand that it don't matter where you come from or what you come from, you can still do what you want to do, create what you want to create, and become whoever you want to become if you're willing to put in the work. And, riding in that car that day, I literally started crying, which was weird. And I'm like, yo, what is the deal? I thought I was on the right path, right? And it started to eat at me. So I was like, you really need to let people in on what you've accomplished thus far, getting into the business, like, what you want to do. By that time, I had made a lot of shifts coming from a hot-headed teenager with braids and sagging pants with an assault charge to wearing a uniform, wearing a gun, and on track to become a law enforcement officer. And I'm like, I really wish people would understand that no matter where you come from or how you're brought up, you can become whoever you really want to become if you're willing to put in the work. So the window tint and the inspirational speaking thing really don't necessarily go hand in hand, but it's the process that I've gone through to become who I am, to create the business and make it as successful as it has been. Because I tell you, if I still had braids and sagging pants and a bad reputation with police, I highly doubt that the police officers and stuff that I do business for now would trust me driving their cars. I mean, that's one unique thing about, my business. I do police cars, sheriff's department. I do some SBI stuff. And I went from having a bad reputation with police to now they don't even bring them to me. They allow me to pick up their brand new police cars and they trust me with them. So it's a day and night difference. And I want to encourage people to not get stuck at where you are, and just know that if you put in the work, you can become whoever you really want to be.
Wow, what a story! What a story! And again, that you said coming from a small town or something like that. It's almost like that the fish in a little small fish boat. You know what I mean? They only grow but so big. But if you put them in a bigger, you know what I mean? So that analogy, I can understand them. How do you think the ETA Game Changer program help you shape your gift at speaking or finding your audience? You know what I mean? How do you think that ETA Game Changer program helped you, or did it?
I tell you, it was not by mistake that the first coach I met was Coach Val. I mean, she pushed me in ways that I had never been pushed before. And, I learned a lot about speaking and the business and the craft, but I had never deep dove into myself as much as I did until I was in that program. I mean, she would ask me questions and give me things to work on that I'm like, wow, I have never dissected that, and it brought me so much value, man. It really, and you go into those programs just wanting to learn about one thing or learn the craft, but I actually came out of that learning more about myself than I had my entire life. And like I said, it was by no mistake that the first coach I met was Coach Val, because I give her a lot of credit, I tell you.
Well, you preaching to the pride, to the choir, because Coach Val was my coach as well. You know what I'm saying? So I know exactly what you're talking about. I was under her tutelage as well. So the Game Changer program has definitely taken my stuff to a different level. And
Right.
I think you say her name like Valari Humphreys. All right,
Yeah.
so we're gonna put her up here and make sure we give her a shout out, because she definitely did her thing and she's still doing it. She's still doing her thing.
Man.
Used to be a principal.
It's,
She's very good.
I can't say anything. She is just, she's special, dude. I'm telling you, if anybody is blessed enough to, be taught by her or be mentored, I felt like she was more of a mentor to me than trying to coach me in the speaking realm. And like I said, I mean, it brought way more self-awareness to me. So yeah, it was some real value, real value.
And one of the things that she said that stuck with me, you know what I'm saying, especially I'm an educator too. She's one of her things is she said you have to make a connection before you make a correction. So that's the thing that I think she did with us as under her tutelage, being able to be coached by her, is she
Yeah,
made a connection first with us. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Before she started correcting us and getting, so I shout out to Coach Val and the ETA Associates. They're doing a thing over there. What
Yeah.
was the best advice have you given someone and it actually worked though, Jeremy? Like it actually worked. You was like, wow.
The best advice, man. As far as so, one thing that I've learned, since being in business, meeting some financial goals, and it's weird that you asked me that question because I just had my half brother at the shop the other day, and one thing that I had started saying in Game Changers was, make sure whatever you're chasing is deeper than the dollar. And like I said, coming from a small town, people really set their eyes on what pays the most as to why they're going to dive into it. And I was telling him at the shop the other day, I was like, listen, I don't care what it is you go after, because I'm trying to prune him to help me run the business, or because his name's Jordan Harris and mine's Jeremy Harris, got the same initials. So I'm like, yo, J Harris, like I need to prune you to take my place one day. But I was telling him, I don't care what you do or what you chase, just make sure money's not the motivator, because I've seen way more. Now, whether that works or not, I don't know, but I feel like that's probably the best advice that I've given thus far, because if you're just chasing a dollar, it will not sustain you when you get punched in the mouth, because you will get rocked in entrepreneurship. You will get rocked in life. And if why you're doing something is as shallow as a piece of paper, it will not sustain you through those hard times, because I've seen that being an entrepreneur. I've had plenty of money, but when a family member passes away or something doesn't go right in business, none of that mattered. So yeah, that, like I said, I don't know if that piece of advice has worked, but I felt like that was a really, like, the best advice I've given thus far.
Okay, all right, that worked. And punched in the mouth, so to speak. The pandemic has definitely punched us in the mouth. So that was some really good advice. Can you think of a person or a family member that influenced you the most and why?
Man, I tell you, my entire family has influenced me really beyond anything. And like I said, that self-awareness thing, just kind of looking, my family has shown tremendous resilience. But if there's one individual that really set the tone for me, it'd have to be my grandmother. She passed away a couple years back, and she had been fighting Lou Gehrig's disease for, man, 10 plus years. So whereas you can kind of, like, when someone has a fast track disease and they get it and they're gone, hers was so slow moving. I really got to pay attention to how she reacted to the movements that she lost, because Lou Gehrig's disease, like, you lose bodily functions, and hers was slow. So she would lose, like, her movement of her left arm, and then she'd have to readjust and adapt. And she never stopped. So it didn't matter what she lost, she would always readjust or adapt and still figure out how to get things done regardless. So, that whole go and get it mindset that I have now is, as long as she was still alive, she was going to go and get it. She was going to do what she could. She was going to make things happen. And I tell you, up until the day she died, like, she got to where she couldn't move anything but her eyes, but she was still managing a Facebook page, managing her bank accounts, um, online shopping like nobody's business. And she had a computer that would pick up her eye movement, and she would click and type with just her eyes. I mean, like, up until she lost everything, she still did what she could up until the day she died. So yeah, if there was one person that really influenced me, It's got to be her. So aches and pains when I get up in the morning, as long as I'm alive, I got to go and get it.
What's her name?
Marie Dunman.
Okay. Okay.
Marie Blevins Dunman.
That's your grandmother, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Can you tell me a little bit about and that's a very inspirational story. You know, my grandmother was influential in my life, to include my mother. But very people don't know the why or why you do things, and I think that's probably gonna give the audience a better understanding of what's driving you and the resiliency behind it. You know what I mean? Because you was taught a lesson. Right. Can you tell me a little bit about the taking care of home movement that you started, or what was the inspiration behind it? Taking care of home movement.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. So my first couple years in business for myself were fantastic, and I've always, and again, my grandmother, kind of put it in my head that, you should give. Like she was always a giver. She was always really selfless, never did much for herself. And when I was in security, I would help a lot of homeless people. And, I actually gave this homeless guy all my jeans because I don't wear jeans. I wear tactical pants because they got so many pockets. And, it was those moments that really felt good. So I've always had that selfless spirit. And a buddy of mine had come to me, his wife was working in the school system and was telling me a story about a kid they were passing out snacks. So they were young, pretty young kids. And his wife noticed that the little boy left a small portion of his snack for him to eat and put a large portion of it in his pocket. And she was like, baby, why aren't you going to eat your snack? And he said, well, I'm saving it for later for my little sister. And I'm like, ugh, dude, for a child to be able to think beyond himself at such a young age. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, I'm having all this business success. I know a lot of my customers that are doing really well. And I'm like, there's no way I can be successful and there are kids that are hungry. Like, there's absolutely no way. I was like, is there something we can do? And he's like, well, we may be able to get like a list of like some families that are in need within the school system, and maybe we can provide them with a meal. And my realtor actually was like, yeah, well, I sponsor families every year. So I can, link you with the woman that I go through to sponsor families. And, we started out I'm like, okay, well, I'll sponsor 5 families. But, thinking big, I was like, I want to know how many families there are in every school within the county, right? I said, who do we need to talk to? So we start, making connections and doing this and that. And the first year we done it, through running around and people all coming together, we were able to help 35 families in less than like 6 days.
Wow.
And taking care of home is just that. So it's, I live in Person County. I don't like the fact, like, I can't imagine my daughter going hungry, and all these people that I know are well off. They just don't know that there are people that, or kids that need food. And so we provide everything that you would have on Thanksgiving down to the turkey, all your fixings, all your sides, everything's taken care of, and we make sure it gets to the families. And yeah, I've that taking care of home is near and dear to my heart because it's a lot I want to do with it.
Is there a website or a link that the audience can go to find out more information about that?
We haven't put anything together like that yet, because I'm trying to, as it grows, I'm trying to piece everything together as we go. I mean, this will be our fourth year doing it, and COVID's really messed up some stuff. And we're trying to figure out what direction to go in next as far as turn it into a nonprofit or, definitely probably turn it into a nonprofit at some point. But yeah, there's no link right now as far as that goes.
They contact you for support, or if they wanted to donate?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's what the majority of people are doing right now. They'll contact me. They'll make a monetary donation. This year we had to do it quite different. still had a really good outpouring of people wanting to be involved. Of course, we had a lot less families this year, weirdly enough, but as far as kids being in school, it's been really hard to coordinate with the counselors, find out what families need help because the kids aren't in school. So yeah, but we're definitely working towards a link or a way that people can be more involved.
So definitely, we could definitely gonna put that up so that people can understand and know who to contact, you to contact, to be able to help
Mhm.
you out with that movement. Because I would love to be able to help out as well and see that thing grow. Because there's a lot of
Right.
families that are out there struggling, and like you said,
Mhm.
uh, weirdly, you had a lot of people, but it's a pandemic going on, so a lot of people are going to actually tag on to that type of thing. People have a lot of
Right.
pride in them. So again, I would like to
Mhm.
see that. I would like to help with growing with that as well. Uh,
That's
but
awesome, man. Thank you.
no problem. What can we expect from you in the next few months or the upcoming years in terms of your gift of encouraging others and helping them reach their full potential? What could we expect from you in the upcoming months or years?
Man, I have my hands in so many different things right now. Like I said, the pandemic has it didn't slow things for me the way it has for most, and my business doubled. So we've outgrown the old shop. We're looking for property, but I think one thing that I really want to accomplish um, in the coming year, I would say, is to turn taking care of home into a full nonprofit and not just be able to help people during the holidays, but be able to take care of people within the county like all year long. So if they have an unexpected death or a single mother can't afford her tires and like needs tires to safely transport her kids, like I want to build that and structure it in a way that we're in a position to help all year round, not just with food or anything like that. Or, a family has a house fire, needs clothes. Like, I'd love to be able to put taking care of home in a position to better serve people. Like, that's a huge goal of mine right now.
Okay, yeah, and pretty much you're saying just not make it specific for Thanksgiving, make it for year round when they need help. You can be there to provide it. So,
Right,
with
right.
everybody's
Yeah,
support out
absolutely.
there, our audience support out there, his audience, my audience, everybody being able to support this, we can make this a reality, make it come to life. Um,
Yeah.
what do you recommend the viewers do when other people don't see or agree with the chosen path that they have actually been gifted to go on? You know what I mean? Does does that make sense? You know what I mean? When you have particularly chosen a path, or that's your gifted path that you need to go on, versus
Yeah.
somebody saying, "Well, I don't agree with that." You know what I mean? And you feel it in your
Right.
heart, and you was gifted to go to that particular path. What do you say to some of the followers that's listening right now? That
So would you consider it like a God-given gift, or like say you're following in a family member's footsteps and they're encouraging you in a direction that you don't necessarily feel?
a God-given gift, a God-given gift, something that you're naturally gifted at, you know what I mean, that that you was blessed with and you want to go that route versus the route that a family wants you to go in or your friends want you to go in. What would you say to some of the followers that's probably struggling with that?
I think I've struggled with that. And I probably still struggle with it, like I said, because I want to be an entrepreneur. I love the whole business thing, but there again, I have the motivational, inspirational side of me pulling me in another direction. And as we had spoke of earlier, like they don't necessarily correlate. Like you don't have a positive window tinter speaker out there. You know what I'm saying? But my advice to them would be to not necessarily resist it, but try things. you know, like don't write them off. Yeah, I have people like, and that's exactly how I got to this point. People are like, man, you need to speak. You need to speak. I'm just talking to my friends, and they're just like, man, you motivated me, and like I really appreciate that. You ever thought about speaking? And I'm like, that really ain't my bag. I tint windows. That's what I do. They were like, man, you need to speak. And I resisted for a long time up until that point where I'm sitting in the patrol car and I start crying because something was missing. You know what I mean? Like I felt like I had something to say. So that's how I got here. I started to try to put the gift out there. I started to try to make videos. So my best advice for them is to not necessarily resist, but try it.
And that's a segue into my next question about a video you posted. I think it was like on the 17th of July 2019, where it was in reference to being in the middle of the woods and being lost. Could you speak a little bit about that? Like,
Man, I think I feel like people, so from a child, like we're taught to ask questions, right? And then I'm not exactly sure where this shift happens, but as we grow up, we get nervous about asking questions. Like we're like pride takes over, if you will, and we ask less questions because there's this misconception that as you grow up, you're supposed to automatically, I guess, know everything. So, wisdom doesn't just come, it comes from experience, it comes from asking. And the post that you reference is, again, we grow up, we become adults, we're afraid or ashamed to ask questions to other adults because we feel like, or we've been conditioned to believe that we should already know this stuff. But you don't. Like, if you feel like you're lost, find somebody that influences you, find somebody that you trust, find somebody that you love, and confide in them. Tell them, like, look, I'm lost. Like, I know I'm not doing what I need to be doing, and I need some guidance. As adults, I feel like people get stuck because they don't want to swallow that pride and ask. But if you feel lost, like I said, find somebody that influences you, find somebody you trust, find somebody you love, and be real with them. Like, let them know what's up.
that's perfect. Coaching, mentoring, making sure you find somebody that can give you some advice, but just not doing anything is not going to help you. You know what I mean?
No, if you're standing in the middle of the woods, again, if you don't yell and let people know where you are, you'll never be found. You know what I mean? So just don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Like it's you can't expect to do everything alone. Like, you need to ask people.
Is there a place that you feel comfortable when you're making your videos or your inspirational stuff as an inspirational, motivational person? Is there a particular place you feel more comfortable at making your videos or talking to the world?
Man, this is something that Coach Val gave me a hard time about, and I haven't kicked it. She used to get on me all the time, and CJ even mentioned it about making videos in your car, and that's where it flows for me. So like a good recipe for like my creative juices to flow and me to be sharp and on point. I get a workout in, I get my caffeine in. So when I leave the gym, I'm up. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sharp. I'm always in a fast in the morning, and I feel like my mind is sharper when I'm fasting. And after I fast, I get that workout in, I get the caffeine in. It just so happens that I'm in the car after that. So, at that particular time, I'm either heading to the shop. So I only got from then until I get to the shop to kind of get these thoughts out of my head. Or, I'm headed to pick up a customer's car, and I only got from there to wherever I'm picking it up to get them out of my head. And like I said, it normally takes place in the car, man, for the most part.
Yeah, and I noticed that. And you said get these thoughts out of your head. So it's like something that actually builds on you if you don't get it out. Do you feel that as a motivational, inspirational person?
Oh man, 100%, 100%. And that is exactly, again, going back to that feeling in that patrol car. I had something to say. I didn't know what, but it ate me alive. And like I said, I just started crying. I never forget it. I will never forget that. But yeah, it does. When I feel like there's something that needs to be said, I gotta get it out. Got to.
So how much hard work goes into what you do as a motivational, inspirational person that most people don't see, like behind the scenes? Like, how much hard work really goes into? I mean, is it one take, two take with the videos, or people just think you're freestyle? I
Oh
mean, how
no,
much hard work does it goes in?
very seldom do I get it right the first time. Um, there have been times where it's just came through me, and I was like, "Whoa," you know. and you have those times where you're on point, but as far as like behind the scenes, I've used myself as a test dummy, if you will, because I could tell I needed to make some shifts in my life, and I studied psychology on my own, applied them to myself, and applied them on the job when I was working in public safety. And it's a lot as far as understanding yourself and trying to understand people and understand what people need from you. So it's a lot of self work that goes on as far as trying different tactics and mindsets, and trying to study the right people. Eric Thomas, for instance, or Inky Johnson. I mean, they were really, really big influencers for me as far as like their ideology and perspectives and whatnot. But yeah, there's always, it's not just go and get it, do your best. I want to make sure that I'm authentic. Like, I don't want to tell people you can do this, you can do that, you should do this, you should do that, and I'm not doing the deep work on myself. So yeah, it's a lot of self-awareness conditioning that goes on.
I appreciate you sharing that with the audience, because some of them really don't know what goes on behind the scene. They just think the person is gifted and to be able to do that right away. But it's a lot of hard work goes into being an inspirational, motivational, encouraging person behind the scenes that is burdened. So definitely that's what Chief says is about, being able to share our stories, or the stories of what we go through, to make sure that
Right.
it benefits the audience. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's crazy, man, because now social media makes it too easy to look the part and not really play the role. You know what I mean? Like, but it eats me alive, man, because it looks so easy online or on social media, and it's not, and that frustrates me, because that's why people try to skip the process. You know what I mean? Like, and we're guilty of it. That's why we eat fast food. It's quick, it's easy, it's convenient, and people kind of look at being a better human being as quick and easy, and it's not. Like, it's like I said, that's where social media kind of frustrates me a little bit. I think it shines too much light on the good times and not enough on the work.
And speaking of social media, how could the audience find you, or do you have like Instagram or Facebook, or a particular organization that you want to highlight? What's your Instagram?
My Instagram handle is at jharrisinc. I came up with that years ago because I thought everything I was gonna own one day was gonna be J Harris Incorporated.
What about
So
it?
it stuck. I just kept it. We're not there yet. Everything's not J Harris Incorporated, but I at least got the Instagram handle. I'm also on Facebook. Jeremy Harris. I mean, I don't know how many others. I'm sure there's many of others, but um, nothing necessarily special that makes my name stand out on there.
Anything Twitter?
Um, I can't remember if I went live on Twitter. I want to say that my buddy helps me manage it. It may be J Harris INC as well. Yeah, I'll have to double check that and let you know. I can't remember.
Any organizations or you want to shout out to, or that you sponsor, that you want to highlight at this time?
Man, I'm really particular about, talking about the good, because I feel like being genuinely selfless is giving with no expectation of anything or any credit in return. I make donations and help out as much as I can with many, many different organizations. But, like I said, I don't want a pat on the back for the good that I do. I do good, but yeah, nothing specific comes to mind that I kind of want to put out there as far as that goes.
That's real touching there, Jeremy, because and that's the thing about it. We do so much, we don't expect anything in return. The reciprocity is not there. We don't really care if it's there or not, because of what we do.
Right.
It's so much. We got so much passion in it, and that's why I wanted to create a platform like this. That way, if we have something like taking care of home, where people can get behind and support you, like the chief says, the scholarship thing that I support, to be able to let people understand that the funds are going on behalf of to another student that's in high school. So again, this is
Right.
why I wanted to be able to create, because we're so what's the word I'm looking for? Humble. You know what I mean? We could actually do that. That could be a
Yeah.
disservice to us
Yeah.
at times. You know what I mean? So again,
Right. Yeah, I even still struggle with the taking care of home thing. Like people are like, man, it's so great that you started that, and it's so great that you do this. And I'm like, look, I didn't do anything. I shine light on an issue in the community. Like I want the community to get the credit. I don't want the credit. And they're like, no, 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 you need to take some credit.
you almost want to do it on your own because you don't want to ask nobody, and it's not because it's for pride. It's because
Right.
you other people are struggling, so you like, I can build it myself, and then help out the people. But there's people out there that can help us out, Jeremy, and I hope you guys get behind this movement, because I am with the taking care of home. So I think that's wow. All right, I got one more question for you. One more question.
Okay.
Well, actually, two. Do you have any upcoming events that you're going to be at, or you're going to be speaking at, that the audience can actually, see you or hear you?
Nothing quite yet. The schools here had just started to open back up. And, I was doing quite a bit of mentoring in and out of the elementary schools. But, until things kind of get more back to normal, they're not even allowing anybody in the schools right now. And the online stuff for these kids has been so crazy. I hadn't even tried to even bring up doing a Zoom call with some kids yet. So, yeah, nothing right now other than rocking and rolling with the business stuff.
All right. Well, if you had to, well, you know what? We're actually pretty done with the question. Now we're gonna have some fun. All right. We have something called the Chief Says Speed Word Game. All right.
Okay.
So what this is, I'm going to give you a word or a phrase. What you got to do is say the first thing that comes to your mind. You got 3 seconds to respond. If you don't respond within 3 seconds, the production team gonna buzz you on, and they're just gonna have to give you another. So these words or phrases you should be really familiar with, based on how the research that I found about you. So here's go your first word. You ready?
Okay.
All right, here we go. First thing come out your mouth, or whatever you say come to your head. Trust.
Oh God, I couldn't get that one. Jeez. Mandatory.
Well, I tell you, once you say something, your time stops. So with that G stop, you really stop your time. But yeah, you said mandatory. What do you mean by mandatory?
Yeah.
If you can.
In business, and like I said, the trust and the reputation that you build as an entrepreneur is literally the only reason that I'm able to run my business the way I run it. Like it's built on trust.
Let's go. I love it. All right, the next word, number 2, is work ethic. Work ethic.
Paramount. Like the most important.
And the last question I have for you today, conceal shade.
Window tint.
So yeah, and then I was gonna put this one. I've been seeing in like your videos and some of your pictures of you sometimes put a shocker sign up. What's up with that?
Doing that?
Yeah, what's that?
Just mahalo, like
Okay, all right, yeah. So because I'm in Hawaii, that's what they do here. You know what I mean? The shocker.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's just kind of a. I don't like to be traditional, man. So some people wave and some people do the peace sign or like throw the hand up, and I'm just like, what's up?
Yeah. All right. So again, thank you for playing the Chief Says Speed Word game. I appreciate you coming out. So again, I want to thank you for coming out for the second season of Chief Says. We're going to be posting this video here shortly. I'm so proud to have you on the show. I went after you. We said we was going to actually do this, and we actually did. So I would like to thank Brent.
I appreciate the opportunity.
No problem. I'm blessed to even have you on the show, man. You're a wonderful, inspirational, motivational person, entrepreneur. I wish you luck, not only in your business, but your ventures or being able to do other things to help other people. All right? So thank you.
Awesome.
So what we're going to do here, Jeremy, All right, you're going to get a Chief Says shirt. All right, we don't sell these shirts. We make sure that so we'll get your size and we'll send it out to you and your address and we'll send it to you. So you get one of the Chief Says. You got to be a guest, or you have to actually no, on my Instagram, you got to make a comment, subscribe, like, and put your comment on to Chief Says on my Instagram. For this week, it's a female. So her Instagram is FWLELE. Lele. All right. She liked, subscribed, and she commented on Chief Says video. So you will be receiving this. We also have our Instagram and her face up here on the screen. So you guys go there and we'll get you squared away. So again, she liked, she subscribed, and she's going to get that shirt. You too can get a shirt too if you actually like, subscribe, and comment on Chief Says show. I'd like to thank Brandon by K for making Chief Says a reality where you, the viewer, can get a benefit from. I would like to thank my guest, Jeremy Harris. I'd like to make sure that you guys like, subscribe, and turn on your notification to Chief Says, where you, the viewer, can get a benefit out of it. All right, like I always say at the end, you help me out, Jeremy. Chief Says, let's. Chief Says, let's go.